So 2 years ago, I graduated from university with a degree in architecture. And after 3 long years, I was certain of one thing. I didn't want to be an architect. Now, I love the process of design, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't stand the hierarchy, couldn't stand the box, pretty much, and being told what to think and what to do. I was really excited by entrepreneurship. I wanted to see whether I could make it in the world of business. The problem was, I had no business experience. I wasn't one of those apprentice kids that had started like 3 businesses by the age of 14. I wasn't like that kid on there with 3 apps by the age of 12. I was a beginner. You know, I just graduated, architecture was a full-on degree, and I knew nothing. I didn't know much about the web, and I didn't know very much about what running a business would be like. However, 2 years on, my world is looking a little bit brighter. Well, first of all, I've set up a communications agency called Open Studio. And we work with social enterprises to help them with their branding and communications. One of the projects that I worked on was with BitSilk. And BitSilk is a development company. And they produce minimal viable products for startups. And I met with the 2 founders. One of them's in Germany, one of them's in the UK. And they are obsessed with coffee. So you can see what I did there. I also worked with a social enterprise called Green It for Kids. And they're trying to redefine how waste disposal is done in the north of England. And I sat down with Chrissy over Skype, and we talked about kind of creating a character called Worm that would represent the values of her business. And even my own dad hired me to design his website and rebrand one of his projects. So to put this into perspective, I want to show you this work. Now this is where I started. In preparation for this talk, I went through my big library of files and I picked out the worst stuff. And I looked at it with horror. You've got Slingshot ad, your smartshoppinglist.com. The point here is that I won't go into why I came up with that or what I was thinking, but when I started, I was terrible. You know, it's really, really bad. Like if someone came up to me and showed me these designs, I would not go and say, hey, go start a consultancy and go be a designer. They're really bad. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because it doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you want to go. And if you have a purpose, you can teach yourself pretty much anything. So the next story I want to share with you is my good people story. Now, after I graduated, as you can imagine, I had a lot of time on my hands. As you do. I wasn't applying for jobs. I had a year to kind of explore. And what I did was I started watching videos. I watched as many videos as I could. And the videos I really liked watching were around environment, climate change, the financial crisis. And all of those stories, all of those narratives got me thinking, there's an opportunity out there. There's an opportunity to use technology to bring people together to make a difference. And there was a movement in this. Now, I took that story. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have a product. All I had was that story. And I used that story to get in front of people. Any meeting I could, I would get them to sit with me, ask them questions, try and learn something. And eventually, 6 months later, I got my break. I met this man, the founder of Good People, Richard Tyree. And when I met Richard, he saw something in me. He saw something in me. He saw tenacity, a willingness to learn, and a bounce-back ability. And he gave me a shot. He mentored me for a few months. He Skyped with me. We had a few coffees together. And then eventually we decided to work together. And now I'm a founding partner of Good People. And I want to share this video with you now.
As a nation, we face social, economic, and environmental challenges at an unprecedented scale. Deep down, we want to do something for our kids, for our friends, and for our community. With this purpose, with this energy, with this passion and desire to make a difference, where do you go? Good People is a place for you to discover, create, and share inspiring opportunities. You can use Good People to discover ideas and exciting new startups. You can use Good People to connect with volunteers and experts. You can use Good People to attract mentors, trustees, and advisors. And ultimately, you can use Good People to either find the right job or hire the right people. Every opportunity has its own webpage, which makes it really easy for you and your friends to share it across your social networks. We imagine a world where every one of us is given the opportunity to use our skills and talents to help the causes that really matter to us. We need to create a place where good people from business, government, and charity can come together to create change on a massive scale. There are 3 simple ways to get involved. You can register online, you can post opportunities, and you can tell your friends.
So that's Good People. And kind of our mission with this is to kind of create a global community that wants to make a difference. And goodpeople.co.uk has received funding from Nesta and the Cabinet Office to launch the platform in the new year. But the bigger picture of Good People is to use the platform that we're building and create an operating system where we can white label and create multiple marketplaces. I want to share with you some of the projects that we've been working on. Hiring Heroes. We've partnered with BT and TXM Recruit, which is a leading recruitment company in the UK, to help service men and women from the army to find employment and transition back into work. We've also partnered with 2 large charities, Changemakers and Warwick Federation, to create the Talent Shop. And just to give you guys a bit of context, the UK is one of the worst countries when it comes to social mobility. It's one of the worst social mobility records. And what that means is if you're in the UK and your children, and you're born poor, you're more likely to have kids that are poor than in any other country in the developed world. And what we want to do with the Talent Shop is we want to challenge this mindset, this disadvantaged thinking, and help young people from tough backgrounds to discover their talents and build their careers. The next project that we've partnered with Stella and Southwark Council to Good People Power the Shard. And every big development has something called the Section 106 agreement. And we're going to work with them to help recruit 300 local people into jobs both in the Shard and around London Bridge. And the bigger vision of this is to kind of embed a CSR program into the Shard so that it becomes one of the leading and most socially responsible developments in the world. So the question is how did I go from meeting Richard to starting to work with him to all of that stuff? It's crazy. Imagine writing a business plan for this and presenting it to an investor. Well, we're going to work with charities, we're going to work with businesses, social enterprises, we're going to get some government funding, and yeah, we're going to do all of this in a year. If you pitch that, they'd laugh at you, and they'd tell you to focus, and yeah, kind of leave. But in a way, we work differently. We thought about how we ran our business in a very different way. And I like to think of this as social enterprise in action. Now for me, social enterprise does not live in the charity sphere. It lives in its own space, the 4th space. And this space is where the public sector and government collides with charity and business. And in this 4th space, anything goes. The rules haven't been made, and there's just one single North Star, and that North Star is trying to make an impact in the world, trying to do stuff that matters. So if you're ever asked the question, what is a social enterprise? Ultimately for me, it's just a smarter, more effective way of doing business. You can get help, advice, support, and you have a story to share that people can get behind. Now, I've got a few minutes left, and I want to kind of take all my thinking and share with you a few lessons that I've learned over the last 2 years. So maybe some tips to help you with your own enterprises. So the first thing is do good research. When I started out, I had really, really bad ideas. And the reason I had bad ideas is because I didn't know what I was talking about. And the reason I didn't know what I was talking about is because I hadn't done my research. And the amount of times that people try and pitch the next startup is, pitch the next Facebook is really surprising, actually. And if you want to do anything in technology, go onto AngelList and set yourself a challenge. Every week, you're going to research 10 companies and do a competitor analysis on each of those companies. You're going to understand what they do and if they work. And you're going to try and get a deeper look into that market. Another great website is Mixergy.com, which showcases tactics and in-depth conversations with proven entrepreneurs. And pretty much just Google. Just go onto Google and try and learn something. Try and just absorb as much information as possible. And when you've done that, download Evernote and make sure you organize it, because I've got over maybe 10,000 links, and I only just started using Evernote. And it's chaos. I can't find anything in my folders. And if I started using Evernote, that problem wouldn't have happened. So please, please, please download it, because it's the best way to organize pretty much everything in your life. Finally, in terms of kind of online tools, I've looked at quite a few. I've tried them out, and for me, the two best are Wix and Podio. Now, Wix basically helps you build a basic website without knowing any code. You literally just create it, get it online, and it's a really easy to use program. Podio is a CRM system that enables you to capture data and manage your team, and it's free for under 5 people. Please use these tools, because you'd be amazed how much you can create without writing a line of code. And finally, I want to leave you with probably the most important thought. It's give before you take. And the reason why you should do that isn't only because of altruism. It's because when you give, you build trust. In fact, when you give first, it's the quickest way to build trust. I didn't go to Richard asking for a job or saying, work with me. I came to him with ideas. I came to him with suggestions and questions and a willingness to learn. And then in time, that came back, and I had an incredible experience as a result. And I'm part of a company that I'm really excited about. So think about giving first. And I'd like to leave you all with my favorite quote, a quote that I like to live by, and I'm sure you know it as well, by Mark Twain. I never let my schooling get in the way of my education. Thank you.